Hello. Okay. So in last session we discussed what is a Genesis block and how we create the Genesis block, and then how we can configure that Genesis block in the order service. Now, in today's session, we are going to discuss uh, channel transaction block. Okay, so we will understand what is a channel transaction block, how we create it, and then how we use it when we create channels. Okay, so channel transaction block is something which is related to channel in Hyperledger Fabric network. Okay, so before looking into the channel transaction block, let's first understand what is the channel. Okay, so like in other uh, blockchain frameworks, we have concept of network, but those networks are public network. Okay, so anyone can join the network and do the transactions, right? But in Hyperledger Fabric framework, there is a concept called private channel. Okay, so we create the private channel uh, for the data security or the data privacy. Okay, so say suppose in your Hyperledger network you have 10 participants or 10 organizations, but organization 1 and organization 2 want to do a private transaction, and they also want to make sure transaction among these two participants should not be visible to other organizations which are the part of your consortium or your Hyperledger network. Then using the channel concept, you can create a private channel only for the organization 1 and organization 2. So that way, uh, transaction that will flow uh, in this channel that you just now created for organization and 1 and organization 2, that will be visible and private to only and only between organization 1 and organization 2. So that is the concept of channel. So using the channel, we can uh, achieve the uh, concept of the private network. Okay, so if you remember, when we create the Genesis block, in the Genesis block it is mandatory that we provide the MSP detail of all the organizations that going to be part of your Hyperledger network. Okay, so you provide the detail now, or if say suppose some other organizations want to join your network on the latest stage, then you have to basically update your Genesis block. Okay, so say suppose in your network Hyperledger Fabric network, you have organizations like org1, org2, org3, organization 4, or an organization 5. Okay, so these are the 5 organizations that are currently part of your Hyperledger network or Fabric network. Okay, and you have or one orderer, a solo orderer, or maybe the Kafka based cluster group of orderer. Okay, so when you create the Genesis block, you have to provide in your Genesis block, you have to provide the detail of all these 5 organizations. Okay, so detail means you have to configure the organizations ID, organizations MSP ID, uh, and the MSP itself. I mean, where your CA root certificate and the public certificates are stored. Okay, so your Genesis block that will be constructed will include detail of all these 5 organizations, right? And then you later feed this Genesis block in the orderer, right? You will feed this Genesis block in the orderer. Okay, so you will feed this Genesis block to your orderer, right? And as we saw in the last session, so your Genesis block will create a channel, and by default name of that channel is test channel ID, right? Channel ID, right? This will be the name of your default channel that your orderer created at the startup. Okay, and it will also create a ledger where it will store the detail of your Genesis block. So in that ledger, Genesis block will be your first block. Okay, so your orderer is up, or organization and their peers are up and running. Now you can have one channel. Okay, you can have one channel where all these 5 organizations are part of that channel. Okay, so you will have one channel that will include all 5 organizations. That means these 5 organizations can do transaction with each other. Okay, so that is the one channel. Now each channel will have a ledger. Now when I'm saying the ledger, it means each pair will have a ledger for this channel. Okay, say suppose name of this channel is channel 1. Okay, so for this channel each pair will have one ledger. Okay, so any transaction that happens between the peers or between the organizations, that transaction detail will be stored in this ledger, right? And this ledger is only for this channel. Okay, so this is the common channel where all your 5 organizations are included. Now if say suppose your organization 1 and organization 3 want to do some private transactions, right? That they and these organization do not want this data flow or the transaction that they will exchange is visible to organization 2 or organization 5 or organization 4. Okay, they do not want that. They don't want if organization 3 do a transaction, or say suppose it send a code, business code, to organization 1. So organization do not want this code to visible to organization 2 or organization 5 or organization 4. Okay, so in that case your organization 1 and organization 3 can make a channel. Okay, organization 1 and organization 3 can make a private channel. Okay, now to create the channel we need a channel transaction block. Okay, we need the channel transaction block. Okay, so we will create one transaction channel block that will have detail of only organization 1 and organization 3, right? And when we created this channel, before creating this channel, I mean the channel number 1, channel 1, right? We created a transaction block where we provided a detail of all 5 organizations. Okay, so we created one consortium where all these 4 organizations were added. Okay, but in this private channel we will have only organization 1 and organization 3, right? So we have to create a transaction block that will include the detail of organization 1 and organization 3. Now as I told you, uh, one channel means one ledger. So what will happen when this channel will be up and running? Your organization will have one more ledger, and organization 3 will have one more ledger. Okay, and this ledger will be associated with this channel, which is your channel number 2. Okay, and this will be associated with this ledger. Now if channel 3 make a transaction, right, so this transaction will be stored. Okay, your channel 3 make a transaction and that transaction will be for channel 2. Then this detail, transaction detail of the transaction detail that is made on channel 2 will be stored on this ledger. It will not go in this ledger. So that way your transactions and your data will be secure. Okay, and the flow and everything will remain same. You still have to send your endorsed proposal to the orderer and things like that, right? But your orderer are smart enough to determine that okay, this request or this endorsed proposal is for channel 2, so I just need to spread or broadcast this endorsed request to only organization 1 and organization 3. Okay, now how your organization know, I mean sorry, how your orderer know that which organizations are part of this particular channel, right? It cannot dream about it, right? So your orderer has to know the details of the channel. That is the point, right? Your orderer has to know the details of the channel that you are creating. Okay, so if a if a endorsement endorsement proposal is sent to the channel 1, then that transaction need to broadcast to all 5 peers or to all 5 organizations. But if endorsed transaction proposal has been sent for the channel 2, then it need to send or it need to broadcast it only to organization 1 and organization 3. Now how your orderer will know this? Your orderer know this by the channel configuration. Now what do you mean by the channel configuration? Channel configuration means channel transaction block. Okay, so this is what happens. Your orderer was started, and when your orderer was started, we provided a genesis block. Genesis block contains the MSP details of all 5 organizations, right? When you create the channel, right, actually you send a transaction to the orderer. Okay, so it's the same kind of transaction that you send to your peer. Okay, you have to sign your transaction before you send to the peer, right? That is the rule. So you have to sign your transaction with a valid user before you send the transaction to the peer. So first you create a transaction and then you sign it, then you send to the peer. In the same way, you create the channel transaction block, right? And after that you have to sign that channel transaction. Okay, now there is a rule that your channel transaction need to be signed with the admin of one of the organization which is part of that channel. Okay, so when you are creating channel 1, your channel transaction need to be signed with either admin of organization 1, organization 2, organization 3 or organization 4. But the transaction channel transaction block of channel 2 need to be signed by either organization 1 and or organization 3. Okay, so you sign the channel transaction block and then you send that transaction to the orderer. Okay, now this is a simple transaction. Your orderer will take that transaction, it validates, right, whether it's well formed or not, and whether it is signed by the particular user or not. And if it's valid, then that channel transaction become the part of your default system channel ID. Okay, that become the part of your uh, ledger that is created at the startup for the orderer for the test channel ID. Okay, so now your orderer has uh, channel transaction channel transaction this thing channel transaction block, right? Like channel 2 has one transaction channel block, and channel 1 has one transaction channel block, and these are the two blocks that has been stored in the test channel ID ledger, right? Now when somebody make a transaction, right, say suppose your organization 1 makes a transaction for the ch2, right? Your orderer will know that okay, ch2 channel has only two organization, and which is your org1 and org3. And how, from where it get that information? It will get that information from the ledger. Okay, so that is the use and importance of your transaction channel block. Okay, so Genesis block contains the organization detail of all the organizations in your Hyperledger network, and your channel transaction may or may not contain detail of all the organization in the your Fabric network, right? Because you may create multiple channels uh, for the data privacy or transaction privacy. So this is the concept of your channel, and and this is the use of channel transaction block in the Fabric network. Now we are going to see how to create the channel transaction block. Now we use the same tool that we use to create the Genesis block, and the name of that utility or tool is config text gen. Config transaction generator, config text gen. Okay, we will use this tool, and this tool requires a configuration file. Okay, where we have to provide the detail of organization that want to be part of that channel. Okay, so this is the config text gen. This is the utility that we are going to use to create the um, channel transaction. Okay, and this is the file where we will be configuring our consortium. Okay, so now configuration and all other details are same that we discussed in the previous session. uh, uh, you just need to remember one thing, that we have to create a separate profile. Okay, so to create the Genesis block, because Genesis block also have to have that detail of the orderer, but when we create the channel transaction block, we don't need to provide the detail of orderer. Okay, so your Genesis block profile contains the detail of the orderer, but and obviously consortium will contain the detail of all the organization which is part of your network, but uh, channel transaction uh, profile contains detail of only those organization which going to be part of your channel, which is going to be part of your channel. So that is the only difference, except that all other details are same. Okay, so this is the profile name. Okay, that we are creating for channel transaction block. And then consortium, this is the name of consortium. Application, again, this is as you can see that here is we are referring an ankle label, right? So this goes here, application detail. And if you have if you want to provide some default configuration for your application, that you can mention here, but we are not mentioning anything for now, right? And after that you have to provide the name of organization or organization's detail that going to make this channel. Okay, so I want my organization 1 and organization 2 part of this channel, so that is the reason I have two organizations mentioned here, organization 1 and organization 2. And here is your organization 1, right? And we have already discussed what is the significance of these parameters and what this represents. Okay, so name can be anything. ID is basically name of your MSP. It is important because whatever you will use here, you have to use the same name when you will configure your network or when you will initiate a transaction. Okay, from your Java code or from some other interface. Okay, and then your this is your MSP directory. So that's it. Okay, so this is the profile that I'm going to use to create the channel transaction block. Okay, so let's let's create this. Let's create the channel transaction block. Okay, now command to generate the channel transaction block is over here. Okay, so first is the utility name, then minus profile. This is the name of your profile, and this profile you have defined in the configuration file, config text gen. Okay, so name of my profile is this HF2 organization channel. So I will use that name over here. Okay, then minus output create channel transaction. If you remember, it was this value was something like the Genesis block when we created the Genesis block using this tool. But because now we are creating the channel transaction block, so we have to use this option over here. Then this is the name of your transaction block file. Okay, I mean your transaction block will be created by this utility, but it will be placed in this file. Okay, so you can name it whatever you want, and then minus channel ID. Okay, this is the name of your channel. Okay, this is the name of your channel. So say suppose name of channel is HF dash 1. Okay, okay, now we are good to run this command. Okay, so command ran successfully, so I should able to see a channel.tx in this folder, and here is my channel.tx. Okay, so you can see here channel.tx has been created, and this is your uh, channel transaction block. If I open it, I will not able to open it because it's binary file. Okay, so now I have my crypto material, right? That we created, I think, in previous one of the session. Then we created the Genesis block, and now we also have our channel transaction block. Okay, so next I'm going to set up a network. Okay, that will use the Genesis block that we created, crypto material that we have created, and this channel transaction. Okay, so that way you will understand that how all these pieces work together. Okay, this is my Genesis block. Okay, so this is a Docker Composer YAML file, right, where I have defined my um, network. Okay, now I'm going to um, I'm going to use all the artifacts or the configurations material that we have generated so far in this Docker Composer file to start our um, fabric network. Okay, and I will also explain you that what I'm doing and what is significance of that. Okay, so that will be a good learning for us. Okay, so first is uh, CA server, right? CA server. This is my fabric CA, and so I have I think already explained you what is CA server home, CA server client, and debug label, and the CA server name, right? So and then the port number, you know that, and then this is the command that need to use to start the certificate authority of CA server. Okay, now I want okay I want uh, CA server to use CA certificate that my CryptoGen tool has generated for me. Okay, and I want it to use the CA certificate of organization 1. Okay, so that I use uh, my Java code to generate new certificate or to generate the new e-cert. Okay, or to enroll new users. Okay, and then I will be using that enroll certificate to make transactions in the channel. Okay, now it will be possible only if my CS server is start with the root certificate of uh, CA that is generated by a CryptoGen utility, because my other components, right, other components like your orderer and the peer will be using the certificates that is generated by CryptoGen tool, and the CryptoGen tool uh, certificate that has been generated by the CryptoGen tool is signed by the same CA root certificate. Okay, so I want my CA server to use the same root certificate and start with that root certificate. I do not want to generate the new self sign certificate. Okay, so I will configure CA certificate and the private key. Okay, so my CA certificate is the uh, cryptographic material was generated on this folder, if you remember, right? And this is organization 1 first organization, and this is, sorry, uh, CA. I mean the CA certificates and CA crypto material. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I don't need to change the path over here, because your CS server will take the certificates. I mean the certificate and the private key from the contain one of the folder of the container, right? So I just need to uh, map my local directory to the one of the directory in the container. So actually, I just need to change this mapping. Okay. So now these two files will be available on this location in the container, and here in the configuration, if you see, I'm using the same folder name, right, and then the certificate, right, you can see here. But again, I have to change the name of the certificate. Yeah, right, and the name of private key will be in the container, this, right. So I will change this as well. That's it. It looks right. Looks right. Yeah. Okay. So now come to the order, and I hope you remember the order configuration, right? In this folder, we have a Genesis file, and it will be copied to this config text folder in the container, and so, and this is how I am configuring my Genesis block in the order, and the Genesis block is file, so it is available in the file system, so that is why it's a file. Okay. Local MSP IDs, orderer MSP. Now this value must match to this value, orderer MSP. If you change here, you also have to change in the Docker Composer here as well. Okay. Next is your MSP. I mean MSP folder, where you have where it's not organization MSP. Okay, it's a local MSP or identity MSP. Okay, so you have to provide that path over here so that it get available to the container in this folder. Okay, in this folder. Okay, and then in the configuration we have specified this path. Okay, so orderer, MSP will be orderer, and this guy. Perfect. So this folder has MSP folder, right? You can see here, and so in the container, your MSP will be available in etc hyperledger MSP slash orderer slash MSP, right? And if you see here in the configuration, we are using the same path, right? Yeah. Okay, this looks good. Okay, now come to the organization one peer configuration. Okay, this is the one peer, first peer. Okay, so this will remain same, this will remain same. Okay, and one important thing, okay, in the Genesis block, okay, when we were creating the Genesis block, address mentioned in the Genesis block was orderer.example.com, right? Orderer.example.com, right? This value should and must match to your actual orderer's host name and the port number. Okay, because orderers orderer address or the location go in the Genesis block, and from that Genesis block, okay, or it from that Genesis block, which is stored in the in your order transaction, right? Orderers channel default channel transaction. From there, this information go to all peers. Okay, this is how your peers know the location or the access detail of your orderer. So it is important that you use the whatever you use the correct orderer address in the Genesis block. Otherwise, if you do not use the correct orderer address over here, your peers will not able to connect to the orderer to pull the uh, transactions. Okay. Okay. So these configurations which are at the top is these are the self-explanatory. I mean, if you want to get the more detail, you can find in the documentation, right? But and this is not very important right now. Okay. Next is local MSP ID. So this MSP ID need to be same as you have specified or mentioned in the config tx file while creating the Genesis block. Okay. Okay. Uh, this is also important configuration over here. So this is the network name that will be created between the peer, okay, and the your chain code container, peer container and the chain code container, right? Because you know that, right? For each chain code, your peer creates a new container, right? And in that container, your chain code runs. Okay, so you need to we need and our peer and the chain code containers has to communicate with each other, right? So this is the network. This network will be created between your peer and the chain code. So this is important. MSP configuration on all these things are same. Let's directly uh, jump over here. Now, so this is your MSP configuration for the peer 0 organization 1. Okay, peer 0 organization 1. Okay, so this is how your peer will get the crypto material for peer 01 for this peer 0 organization 1. Okay, and now say suppose we have, if we have one more peer, then we will use other this peer MSP for the other peer, but of the same organization. Okay, and this is your MSP, and the MSP configuration is right here. Now this is first peer of your organization 2. So to configure this, we'll go here. This is my organization 2 peer 0 and MSP. Okay, so this is peer MSP peer. Okay, yeah, that's it. So we are good to start this network. Okay, so this is your, this is how we configure the peers. Okay, 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 so we are ready to start our fabric network. Okay, so to start the fabric network, we have to use the command docker compose compose up. Okay, so now you can see there is no error, and our network is up and running. Okay, okay, so now next step is to use this network. Okay, so network is up, order has Genesis block, it has information of organization 1 and organization 2, right? Now we have to create a channel, right? So when we create the channel, we will be using uh, channel transaction that we created. Okay, so now let's do that. Okay, so I will be using Java program, and we can do the same thing with the command line utility as well, that we going to see in the next session, that how we use the command line utility to create the channel, join the peers, and to do other things. Okay, and I will also explain you these Java clients in detail, but today I I will just update the configurations in this file, uh, so that you know, we test our channel transaction. Okay, so the first step will be create channel, and if you see, I have created the object of channel configuration, right, where we need to provide the uh, uh, your uh, channel transaction block. Okay, so now I need to use the detail of this channel transaction block. Location of this channel transaction block is this channel.tx. Channel.tx. Okay, and so if I run, then let's see if it works or not. Okay, and again, one more thing you can see here, we also have to provide the name of the channel. Now name of the channel should be the same here in the Java code as you use when you created the channel transaction. Okay, so when we created the channel transaction, name of channel was hf batch 1. So I will be using the same, I have to actually, I have to use the same name over here. Okay, so if I run it, okay, let's see what happened, and it should actually fail. Let's look at the log. Bad request. Now let's see why it says bad request. Okay, so principal deserialization failed. Supplied identity is not valid. Verify. Okay, return X509 certificate signed by unknown authority. It is signed by unknown authority. Okay, now the reason behind that is, I told you, right, channel can be created, I mean, by a admin user, right, and that admin user has to be uh, it has to your admin user should be uh, member of I mean, it has to be admin of one of the organization which is making the channel. Okay, so in my transaction channel transaction block, I have detail of organization 1 and organization 2, right? Now I have to use the, okay, I have to use the admin of organization 1 or organization 2. Okay, because that user, that admin user's credentials or certificates will be used to sign this transaction that we are sending to orderer, that we are sending to orderer. So this time transaction was sent, but it was sent with uh, with the signature of different admin user. Okay, so that is why your order has rejected it. Okay, so and the reason is this. I mean, you can see that I haven't updated the certificate path. Okay, so friends, I have to use peer organizations admin users, and I will use the first organizations admin user. Okay, user, and this is my admin user, MSP, and sign certificate. And name of this file is, copy the name of file. Okay, key store. Okay, okay, and this will be admin peer 0 organization 1, and this is the MSP ID. Okay, so this is same, everything will remain same. Now I'm good to run this program again. Done. So this time you can see channel created successfully, right? Yes. So next step. Next step is join the peers in the channel. Okay. So here I have to again use change the certificates. Okay. So instead of writing the same thing, I will copy these two statements from this code. Okay. And the name of channel is I believe HF batch 1. Okay. So do I need to change anything else? Enrollment certificate, and then peer address is same. Subscribe. Okay. Except that everything looks good. Okay. And so okay, let me run this. I'll explain you. Okay. So organization 1 joins the channel. Okay. Here no error, so it was successful. Okay. Okay. Now next. Now you want peer 2 to join the organization. Okay. Peer 2 has to join the organization with its own admin credential. Okay. Peer 2 has to join the channel with its own admin credentials. Okay. So here I have to use the certificates of admin admin of organization, second organization. Okay, admin of second organization. So come over here, peer organization. This is my organization 2, second organization, and this is admin MSP sign insert. Okay, so I updated the configuration uh, so that my organization 2 joins the peer. Okay, so peer 2 joins the channel. As you can see here, everything looks good so far. Okay, next is deploy chain code. Okay, now we have to deploy the chain code, right? So again, to deploy the chain code on peer 1, we have to use the admin credentials of organization 1, and to deploy the chain code on organization 2, we have to use the admin credentials, admin certificates of organization 2. Okay, so I will copy these details from here instead of writing it again. Okay, batch 2, this is organization 1 and this is organization 2, and channel need to be updated, and it was batch 1. Okay, so chain code is deployed on node 1 successfully. I'm going to deploy the chain code on node 2. Now instantiate. Okay, so instantiate or initialize the chain code, and when uh, this is when uh, your peers where chain code has been deployed will start the new container and will run the chain code in that container. Okay, so So instantiation is nothing but a transaction that need to be sent to your orderer. Okay, and an instantiation transaction we only send to peers. Sorry, we do not send to the orderer. Instantiation and query proposals we do not send to the orderer. We only send to the proposal request, and we send it to only we send it to peers, and after that I think we send to, 1 second, let me remember, let me recall it. Yeah, we send, okay, this instantiation proposal works exactly as a normal transaction. Okay, so we have to first send the transaction proposal to your endorsing peers, and then we'll get the signed proposal response, right? And then we will sending to the order, and order will send to all the peers where chain code is installed. Okay, just got a little confused with some other concept. Okay, so I will first update the certificates. Okay, so this is the certificate of organization one, and this is HF batch one. Come over here. This looks good, and then the proposal will be sent to both peers. Okay, so this is where we are sending the proposal, and then we sending the signed or endorsed proposal request to the orderer. Okay, okay, okay. So we instantiated the chain code. Now, to just to make sure that instantiation was successful or not, what we can do is we can go to one of the command line window, and we can see if the peer has created the chain code containers or not, right? So to check that, we will use this command. Okay, so you can see here two extra containers has been created, and these containers uh, uh, is running our chain code currently. Okay, so far very good. Now next is send a transaction to the ledger. Okay, now ideally you in one of the session we discussed the CA, right? Certificate authority, and I show you how to use the Java code to get the enrollment certificate, right? So you can use that Java code to get the enrollment certificate. Okay, then use that enrollment certificate uh, to sign the transaction and send to the endorser, and endorser peer, and then send the response of endorser peer to the orderer. but I'm not going to do that now. So what I will do is I will use admin certificate only to send the transactions. Okay, HF block HF batch one. Okay, and everything should be same. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, so something has been added in our ledger. Next, we'll run another program to query the ledger. Okay, same thing. Now, okay. Actually, if I will do this, it will not work. Reason behind that is I'm sending query transaction or sending the query request to node 2. So actually I have to use the certificate of organization 2 only. Okay. Okay. So here you can see we send a transaction, we saved a value in the ledger, and then we get that value, right? And this time we used uh, our blockchain. I mean, sorry, we used our Genesis block. We used our uh, um, channel transaction block, and we used our created crypto material, right? Next, I want to show you one more thing, which is ledger. Uh, okay, let's do that in the next session. Okay, so for today, this is enough, and we'll discuss few more things in the next session. Okay, thank you.